MCV, getting my tanks in position. I'm even using the APC, I think, you know, why not make use of it. Adding base defences. Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder, it's Dvoid here. Got a 1v1 multiplayer game and we're on Eden Lake for this one. I'm using Russia. My opponent's chose any faction, but they got France. So here we go. I'll put it on production tab for us. I'm in red, my usual colour, in the bottom left. My opponent, top right, in the pink colour. Both on refinery. Looks like my opponent's going straight for an engineer. I like to have a few rifles out first. And usually I like to have two rifles either side just to clear the way for my engineer and have the engineer the 5th infantryman that I train. But in this case I thought I'd train a load more rifles, just get a stronger position for the central oil derrick and then train my engineer. Just before my last 3 rifles that I'll be leaving at my base anyway, so they can be trained last. My opponent have captured the hospital and they're securing this oil derrick. See what numbers we've got. They've gone for a few medics. Interesting. They've got 3 medics, and that's instead of 6 rifles. That's the, you know, for the price of 3 medics, they're 200 each. You could have 6 rifles, so I've got, it looks like 18 to their 11. So they better make good use of those medics. That's all I can say. Equal army value, and we're both at equal build progress. But I'm now on my first capture. My opponent's got their oil derrick and hospital. Now there's my engineer. I've got 2 rifles clearing the way. I've sent a 3rd. Now I'm not making proper use of my view range, but I didn't know the enemy were coming from that position, and in this case it's better to you know, hold your ground. I did try and arrange a better formation, look. And they're firing blind. They're wise to back off because I've got the better position there. Now I've got 1 oil derrick, my opponent's got 1. Now I've just captured my 2nd. Now I'm falling back with my engineer to capture the hospital. I'll do that last. My opponent's moving by. Look, the engineer's on a long journey. Normally I would have a rifleman close by to cover that. I've got a few rocket soldiers trained. Yeah, when you get a chance, order your MCV, your ore truck, sorry. Once they drop off your ore, order them to gather ore from the closest possible point. Just saves you a bit of time. And any chance you get to do that, then, you know, do so. So I'm holding on to this central position, but I've got my engineer. I'm putting it inside my APC because I want to try and take this. Try and get 3 oil derricks to 0 if possible. Now my opponent's put the ranger, so he obviously didn't make his way there. But it's the safer option, and you know, you can travel around more quickly. Plus if he gets a change of plan, he can bring him back more quickly. It's very useful having a ranger able to escort engineers like that. They didn't in the original Red Alert. You couldn't put an infantryman into a ranger, whereas you can now. So you could put Tanya in it, a spy, anything. Here we go. I've got the engineer. He's starting to capture now. You see what I mean? My opponent can quickly call on his ranger from pretty much anywhere in the map. If he needs it. So he's gonna hopefully trying to cut off my capture, and he just stopped it. Very nicely done. And that was a risk because the engineer's still inside that ranger. It was a real risk diving in there like that. But as it stands, I've got 2 oil derricks, my opponent's got 0. They have kept their hospital, but that's no concern to me. I'm sending out lone riflemen. They should be in pairs, that's how I prefer it, but you can soon end up scattering half your army all over the map if you overdo it. and my opponent is also driving around with this ranger, so he's picking off rifle guards. So with him being here like this and clearing the way, it tells me that my opponent, I don't think I saw any of this, no, but it tells me that my opponent is expanding there. And let's see if I give any orders. I was considering going and attacking there and trying to knock out his expansion before he sets up an entrenched position with defences and stuff. You know, that's what I was considering, but I decided not to. Now, let's just have a look at this early army value. 11,000 to me, 10,000 to my opponent. And my opponent got, I think they got a hint of where I am. Just started to produce heavy tanks, and the Rangers sniffing around, so I knew they had forces around there. I've got infantry producing here. I'm always wary of an attack coming from this direction. You've got to watch it. That's what I'm thinking about here. Got to send some forces to do something, but my opponent's wise to it. And now I'm at 15,000 army value, my opponent's at 13,000. Now I should be making use of that. You know, that bit of advantage there, but you know, I'm out of practice, that's my excuse, but I need to, it's only a small difference, but you know, I need to try, and even if it's splitting off a couple of tanks, draw attention elsewhere. But I thought, I've been caught here, but what can I do? I'm going to make them pay dearly with the losses they do inflict. And you see, he's saved that tank before it's destroyed. He's sending it for repairs. That's very nice work, because it means all the firepower I put into that tank is wasted. So he's ended that engagement there like that. Very nicely done. That's exemplary. Saving that tank, you see, he's going for repairs. So, like I say, all the weapons fire I put into that tank was wasted. Now, I thought, I've drawn his forces away, I'll hit here. But he's more than ready. And he's making even more so by bringing a couple of tanks and falling back with his infantry. That's brilliant. And I thought, yeah, that's just too much of an ask. He's chasing me down with defences, and I used my APC when it fled from over here to get a bit of intel. Let's just see if I did get any. No, I sent him back this way, so he's gone too far along the edge to detect anything. But at least I saved it. He's going for repairs, look. Now I'm bringing up more reinforcements. You see, when I'm emptying my base like this, my opponent could have a small force here, and it'd be a real pain if he had attacked, because I've got nothing here to defend my base now. Units that I'm producing, like tanks, it's a very, very small force. If anything, I'd have if my opponent attacked, you know? That's why I often produce here. Look, there you go, primary production, because you have to be aware of attacks on your base. You see, I've just moved out with that force. That's obviously why I've put primary production here, because it's too vulnerable. But I have got a vehicle with them, so, you know. And this small group of units bumped into the enemy here, so I had to try and group together in case it was a large attack force. But I'm at 23,000 army value, my opponent's at 21. They were right to fall back with that group there, they'd have been overrun. But I'm moving forward and bringing my MCV. And my opponent's got a couple of tanks they're attacking with, and they've got a nice, perfect position there. There's a small force there, a small eco raid. They'll probably move to here next, this small group. But my intention's here, look. 23,000 each, and I'm dropping more quickly than my opponent, but I'm bringing up my MCV, getting my tanks in position. I'm even using the APC, I think, you know, why not, make use of it, adding base defences, and hopefully I can push and overrun the enemy and gain some advantage. Look at those repairs, that healing from the medic, from the hospital and medics. Taking heavy losses. My opponent's got a larger army. We're both taking heavy losses though, and look, my opponent's called in everything they can, but they've got artillery, and that was a poor move. I don't know what they were thinking. It's like a giant move command for that artillery for that force. And I've got some reinforcements of my own, so enjoy that. Nice, finish them. So I'm at 11,000, my opponent's at 7,000. And I'm bringing in everything I can. And look, this base is extremely vulnerable. Let's see what those two tanks did. They've wiped out those ore trucks. So if we just look, I've got 3 ore trucks, they've got 7. That's very poor, but it's because my attention's all here. And I'm now focusing on... See, I've got no money at all, but I'm training... I've got a radar dome, and I'm training a force here, and I'm taking up a position using base defences to try and take control of this area here. $5,000 army value to me, 6,000 to my opponent. But you see, I'm bringing back what few assets I have to try and take control of this area here, look. It's important that I'll get rid of the enemy's radar dome as well. Your base defences won't attack their structures unless you tell them to. Right, there's a thief. Right, my opponent's got a couple of grand. That's okay. I've got very little money. Very little. So I need to... Their MCV escaped. So, hurry up, there you go, that was something. But now we've both got no money. And when you see I'm taking control, they've sold up there. Luckily no riflemen or anything came out, but I've taken control of this ore refinery with the capture, so they can't sell it. But neither of us have got cash. Now let's see what those tanks have done. My enemy, this small group of tanks, has destroyed all my ore trucks. Look, they're all wrecked everywhere. Here, here. We know they've already trashed me up there. Let's see, I've got no ore trucks. So, you know, this is my only source of income, the enemies. And that means I have to train thieves to get the enemy cash. But it does mean my enemy isn't earning money either. So that's something. And I've attacked here. I thought I need to do damage to their economy and go for these ore trucks, but I've been met by what units my opponent can muster. And there's more captures, but I'm only getting the value of the thieves for those last few. And look, my opponents, these tanks are still going, and I've got an engineer hidden away. I think I had primary production at my base when I wanted to train thieves and engineers up here. But there you go, there's some more luck. And I've been defeated here. Not good at all. But I've got this set up. Now I've got 1 ore truck with two refineries. I'm producing infantry here. And I'm sending this thief. See, I needed to sell that refinery. I'm out of cash. My opponent's out of cash as well. But at this point I was thinking, right, that's bad. I was in a decent position. I should have maybe been shown more restraint. But I wanted to go and get the chokehold in effect. It's just they had no money. It's a gamble when you use it like that. It was too much of a gamble. And they're going for my central oil derrick. And it's not a very large force, to be fair. But the thing is, my opponent has got a decent income, but he's like... They're building, as soon as that cash is coming in, they're building and using it to stop me stealing anything. They're not going to float. You know, he's not stupid. He's not stupid, put it that way. And look at this, their economy. I've got 1 ore truck, they've got 8. And it's those 2 tanks that defeated me, basically. Because my attention was elsewhere. See, it still is. In some ways, but I'm obviously struggling to try and like make a stand. Talk about overextending, but I'm at 2,000 army value. My opponent's got a 14,000 army value. They'll just probably be massing a force that can just finish it. But they might not know my condition. They might think I'm doing exactly the same as them. So they're wise not to immediately counterattack as soon as they had 5 grand army value. They're wise not to do that. What they're doing is making sure they've got a solid income and defending it, look. And they know I'm not sending out more ore trucks here and here because they can see it. But they've spotted my MCV on the move. And I noticed that straight away. Look, I thought, right, I'm not having that. But my engineer, that's still wasted. But my opponent's defending this area. I'm at 5,000 army value, my opponent's at 20,000. They've got mechanics and stuff mixed in there. Not a good sign. And I set up an expansion here, but my opponent is immediately attacking it, so I had to retreat. I saved my MCV, and I know there's a tank there. I've just moved units away, look, because my opponent's pushing this side. But seeing that attack, I'm thinking, right, I know I can stop that. But all this is very vulnerable, and I've got my radar dome, look. They are very useful to give you really good view range at the front line, but if you lose that position, you lose the view range and, more importantly, the tech. And I did push it a bit, but I had to fall back. There's an enemy ore truck. There's another enemy ore truck. That's alright, I'm glad about that. But my infantry production's going into a blender. You don't want that, stop it. I didn't realise it was like... Yeah, look, moving them away. I lost enough though. That's shocking. You see, you only need like 2 rocket soldiers, get primary production at this barracks, train 2 rocket soldiers and put them here. And that's all you need to deal with that tank and send it on its way. And when you can afford it, use Tesla coils. But I'm at 8,000 army value, my opponent's at 25,000. You see, I'm just sending a small force, look, just to deal with that tank. And my opponent's still paying attention enough to draw it away and save it. But I can't afford to let one unit draw all these away when I know I'm going to be well behind. And it was just because my economy was destroyed. But I'm at 10,000 army value, my opponent's at 28,000. So this is well and truly defended. Base defences, plenty of infantry, I'm not going to crack that. Production's down there. But I'm here, this is an important source of income. And yeah, their tank's moving in. I'm not surprised it's a veteran, but he's going to get destroyed quickly. Hopefully my opponent wouldn't have seen too much. But I've moved this MCV here because even though it looks like a lost cause, I do want to try and defend that war factory. Look, you see I placed a base defence. I do want to try and defend it. And that's what I've seen there and noticed. And that is an important asset, that war factory. If I've got any hope of making a comeback, that's one asset that I'll need. My opponent's got spies. And they're going for the refinery there, unless they change their mind. They've got a few spies, actually. They've got a little base defense push. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully I won't be floating much, but there, they've got a spy has gone in. He got 500, so luckily the timing was in my favour. And I'm launching an attack here, and my opponent got a spy into my power lock. Because all of your power drops. It doesn't matter if you build more power plants or whatever, while that yellow bar's there, until that drops you're in low power. And I thought I've got to try and do something, but it's heavy losses pushing through there. And in the end I had to fall back. It was a decent sized army that I had, and luckily that force from my opponent was idle, so I kind of had a chance. And there's another enemy spy has gone into my power. And while that's like that, obviously my building, production speed, infantry, vehicles, structures, it's all slowed down. So that's a very good way of damaging your enemy. And I saw this attack was coming in. My opponent's got Tanya, and I had this tank to spot her, so I thought if she's leading the way, I'm going to target her with everything. And got rid of her, and that'll allow me to get some kills. And in this situation, you can chase with base defences, look. And if they want to stop an attack, it'll only give me a chance to catch more of them. So there's some nice losses for you. And this force is still idle. So they want to give me a chance at a comeback. I've got 5 ore trucks, my opponent's got 6. Our income is equal, except I've got more cash. But my opponent's got a big advantage in tech. I've also lost my radar dome, and I'm very indecisive. You see, I've got grenadiers. How many have we got? There's 4 there. Yeah, 5 of them. And for grenadiers, I'll need an APC. So I'm trying to gather tanks. I haven't got many, but, you know, you have to have some. And I've got an APC there, look. And while I'm gathering my force on this side, I'm making a small defensive force here. And my opponent's training more spies. There's loads of them! Oh, look at that. Loads of spies disguised as Tanya. And you have the skull icon with them as well, so I don't actually know which one's which. That will be Tanya, I'm guessing, because she's gonna... Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, she was firing and she's dead. But look at that massacre, because my units are in a good place. And here... there's my APC moving around for its grenadier drop. I kind of held my ground there, but my opponent just managed to defeat my force. Not by much. I wouldn't have needed much to overrun there, and they're regrouping what's left of their infantry with these tanks. And I think Tanya's gone, but I lost my MCV there. And this force, just like I say, I held my ground, but I've got my APC, they've got grenadiers in, and my opponent's got radar jammers. And here we go. I've got a vehicle there, my opponent hasn't, but yeah, just not enough. There you go, there's my grenadiers attacking my opponent's service depot. So there, they can't build tanks now, and they've overrun me here. I'm now creating units there, infantry, training infantry, to make a stand here in the centre. I'll be calling any units I've got. No, that's it. But I've killed Tanya, the APC gunned her down. I've got a grenadier left, and I can kill the primary infantry production. I can kill them all one by one. So that's a nice little touch there at the end. And this grenadier is going to take his time killing the war factory. But they've got me overrun there. I've got a small force, but look, there's a large enemy army hitting me here. That's not good with all those vehicles. But there's primary production to draw some fire over on this side. There's a rocket soldier, you can't go wrong. And there you go, I'm getting squished, a lot of crushes, and I got the war factory on my grenadier. Now he's going to leg it, because they move more quickly than other infantry. They move as quickly as Tanya, so grenadier's going to escape. And there you go, look, losing vital assets, being overrun. This guy's legging it, trying to hide. And still, I'm training in the same place. Yeah. What else can I do? This is it, the clean-up phase. Thought I'd send my grenadier up this way to go for their power. And that's it, I put well played. I mean, I've got my airfield, a power plant, a barracks, I've got my MCV. Oh, I've got no money. I've got that there, an oil refinery. And an oil derrick, but yeah, that's done. But even with a few assets, even if I had a few grand, there wouldn't be any point continuing. And there you go, my grenadier's been killed. But he did some damage at the end. But yeah, there wouldn't be any point continuing, you know, no way. It was decided. So there you go, I enjoyed that one. I certainly had good fun playing that, but let's have a look at the graphs and charts. And here we are, look at the army graph, how close is that? Very nice, and look, I took some severe losses. That grounded my army. Ouch. A severe loss. Yeah, couldn't hack it. But I stayed in the fight. Let's have a look at earnings. Quite even, and then I dropped behind, look. Further at the end, but I'm doing okay at that point. We probably both had nothing about that, you know. It was when we dropped really low. Army, my opponent's got loads of rifles, plenty of rocket soldiers, loads of tanks, and they've got mobile radar jammers, and they make your rockets veer off target. You can't shoot anything that's within the protection radius of a mobile radar jammer. You can't hit it with rockets. So they're very, very good, because it means if the enemy can't fire rockets at your tanks, that's a lot of damage that isn't going to hit your tanks, your screening force. it means that the only thing shooting your tanks that are going to do any damage are going to be enemy tanks, or Tesla, or something like that. No rockets are going to hit your tanks if they're protected by radar jammers, so it makes your tanks a lot stronger in combat and a lot more able to take enemy fire, because bullets are just bouncing off them for ages, and your tanks and your rockets can shoot the enemy screening vehicles, so you've got a big advantage with mobile radar jammers. Vision, my opponent's at 32 there, but they're at a 28,000 army value at the end. I lost 37 structures, my opponent lost 25. I killed 391 units, my opponent killed 495. I destroyed 115,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets, my opponent destroyed 140,000 credits worth of my assets. Support powers, I've got the GPS satellite ready to use, and I did have an airfield briefly, so I did have the paratroopers and spy plane counting down. Didn't get any use out of it. But my opponent's still building Tanya, training Tanya, and building pillboxes. And let's have a look. Yeah, they built up a nice bit of cash at the end. Got 6 ore trucks, but I earned 149,000, my opponent earned 185,000. Not bad. And I was at 31 actions per minute, my opponent was at 42. There's our scores, 1,186 to me, 1,422 to my opponent. Both good scores, but that's an excellent score, that is, from my opponent. But there's all your stats, graphs, charts, etc. I hope you enjoyed that one. It was a good struggle, that one, a good battle. So if you did enjoy it, give us a sub and a like, and thank you very much for joining us. And take good care of yourselves, but for now, thank you very much. And goodbye.
Battle control terminated.